Hi guys. So getting on to this guy, Catcher in the Rye man. I got this book from my dad, who I'm sure purchased it like right after it was, 1951. This book, at the time, was this like pivotal teenage, rebellious kind of book because it was the 50s and there were just certain things that you did in the 50s as, you know, your age group and your gender, and that's just how things were. And this kid doesn't follow that, and of course his parents are fairly upset, but they're also, they have a different mindset than what my parents would have had. So this main character, Holden, he doesn't do well in school. He's pretty much flunked out and been expelled from I don't even know how many schools. And his parents just keep sending him away, and they're like boarding school type things where he's away for the semester or most of the semester. They do live, I believe, in New York, yeah. And so all the schools he goes to are within like a train ride home, so sometimes he goes home for like the weekends and whatnot. But he does stay like in a dorm with a bunch of other guys. So he's just not, it's just not a good fit for him. And he's had a couple teachers that he really likes and like hangs out with, but he's just not doing so hot. So basically he gets expelled again from a school, and he has to go home at the start of the winter break. He decides to leave campus and hoof it on his own for a couple of days before he gets back. There's not much else I can talk about without giving things away. The author's writing style gives the impression that he's being paid by the word, which honestly could have been a thing. The descriptive pieces are very descriptive, but he says the same thing 60 times in the same paragraph, and it's really frustrating. I feel like I'm not getting all of the information, and like I just read Tuck Everlasting, where everything is like, this is what happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. There's no, like, this internal dialogue doesn't exist. So I think I'm kind of stuck in that as well, but I just hate reading things like that because I get bogged down. I feel like I'm like struggling to get to the end, and I'm like sloughing through sludge and mud like in The Neverending Story with, I mean, like I can't get there, and I hate it. I really hate it. But apart from that, the author is great, J.D. Salinger. Like the story without all of that would have been wonderful. You could have cut out like 80 pages out of this 200-page book, just getting rid of all that excess stuff. I see the appeal for teenagers at this time in the 50s who are going through that. I get the appeal of this book, but looking at it now, I don't like it. One of the things that bothers me is that after your kid flunks out of these boarding schools, like, even just the second or third time, you think you'd be like, okay, maybe we need to like put him in public school, or maybe we need to get him tutors, or, you know, you try something else instead of just popping him from one school to the next. The amount of annoyance that I feel towards this character and his family is really high. I just consider him a whiny jerk. Like, there are other choice words, but you know, your parents are paying for this out of pocket, and you can't even try a little bit. He's being obscenely lazy. Like, I just dislike this character so much, and some of the other characters that he interacts with that have the same opinion as me, and tell him about it, I'm like, you gotta, like, scream at him. But it's really frustrating looking at it from today's point of view and trying to go back and read this. It was ridiculous. So I can't even fathom this structure, like this family and what all is going on. That was the most frustrating thing while reading this book. So yes, if it weren't for the author writing deliberately to have as many words as possible, I probably wouldn't have hated the character as much, and I wouldn't have hated the book as much. Because the character, multiple times, he says, I hate it when people say the same thing, 2 or 3 times when you're talking to them, and then that's exactly what he would say. It was just, like, and I'm sure that it was on purpose, that some of these things are deliberately put there. I don't like it. I really don't. I'm sure if I was raised in the 50s, and I only had a handful of books, and I would have felt differently about this. There's a little bit of a disconnect between me and this book, and that's the reason why I don't like it. On Goodreads, there are a couple people who have similar opinions as me, as far as disliking it, and a lot of people rereading it. So, like this person, for instance, had to read it for school. She had to fill out a thing about how it changed her life, and it was, she's like, it didn't change my life. It changed my life for the fact that I hate this is my first classic that I've ever hated. So she hated it when she read it the first time, and she reread it, looks like 30 years later, and to see if her opinion changed, and it hasn't. And then some guys, like, you either identify with him or you hate him. Like, there's no in between. And I'm one of the haters. I feel like if I met him at a party, or if we went to school together, I would have hated him, and I probably would have screamed at him at some point. But yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5 because cultural differences, and I may have felt differently reading it then than I do now. And my dad enjoyed it enough to purchase it, so, or rather to purchase it and then hold on to it forever. It would have changed my outlook, definitely. Had I read this in high school, I would have been really upset at this guy, and I may have worked a little bit harder so that I didn't act like him. But yeah, I can't talk about it anymore, mostly because I have to get ready for work, but also because I'm getting frustrated. Yeah, there's that. So yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you guys again in some capacity with another video, even if it's not what I anticipated. All my links are down below. Please subscribe for more videos. Okay, I am gonna go shower.